Do election campaigns matter? Let's take a look. Do they determine the outcome? Of course they do, right? Well, actually, no. Campaigns rarely have a big effect on an election outcome. Some people might be deciding how to vote in a campaign, but normally the winner stays exactly the same as would have happened on the very first day the campaign began. Let's look at the 2015 election campaign as an example. This shows polling in the weeks of the campaign period, and you can see that almost nothing changed. That's really extraordinary, just when you think about all of the hours spent campaigning or the money spent by political parties on election campaigns. So why is this the case? Well, one reason is that elections tend to be about the fundamentals, the long-term things that mattered before the campaigns themselves began. We can think of the things that have moved the opinion polls since 2019. Can a campaign really undo those reputational crises for the Conservatives this time around? And in addition to the big political events that shape vote choice before campaigns, us voters ourselves also have deeper drivers than what we see happening in an election campaign. We are complex and fascinating individuals shaped by our upbringing, those who influenced us when we were first finding out about politics, and our deeper values and beliefs. This means we can see campaigns as just a small part, a blip really, in a much longer sequence of influences on how we vote. The first things that influence us, the really important things, are the political and social identities and the political values we come to hold when we're entering adulthood. Does someone see themselves as working class, or as the kind of person who tends to vote Conservative, or who wants to see the state do more to help the poorest in society? Those identities inform our attitudes, how we view policies or ideology, and in turn, those attitudes tend to inform our evaluations. And then, and only then really, we look at leaders, how the economy is doing, and other issues. But all along, that is shaped by those fundamental identities, values, and beliefs. And out of all of that comes our vote choice. So the campaign is right at the end, and it's really a small part of what drives our voting. Unless someone remains undecided, and then it's a useful time, people tend to take a bit more notice about politics, but it would be so extraordinary if a campaign itself shaped those things that have stuck with us all our adult lives. Do campaigns sometimes matter? They can, if they tell us something really important and really quite different to what people thought beforehand. Let's take a look at the 2017 general election campaign. That was fought between Theresa May for the Conservatives and Jeremy Corbyn for Labour. And here we see that Conservative support dropped and Labour support improved. Theresa May's campaign was seen as pretty disastrous, really, whereas Jeremy Corbyn performed better than expectations. That really mattered in 2017 because Labour needed to win back undecided voters, those people who are yet to make up their minds about their new leader, Jeremy Corbyn. You can see the flow of Labour voters to undecided between the 2015 election and the month before the campaign. But then you see, during the campaign succeeded in winning back most of those undecided voters, as well as convincing some Conservatives. That's relevant for the current election because the Conservatives need to pull off almost the same trick. But remember that there isn't a given that this is just going to happen. It was actually quite a rare campaign change before, and it only happened because Labour outperformed expectations and the Conservatives underperformed expectations. So if Rishi Sunak fights a campaign like Theresa May, then Labour could still see their position improve. So do election campaigns matter? Well, really, quite rarely. They do matter for informing us about our vote. They can sometimes be influential, but they are very rarely decisive on the outcome of a general election.